welcome back to the watch and welcome back to the Rings of Power live stream reviews. You are here to suffer and endure with me, and I am very grateful for that assistance. To the watch and welcome. So we are now in episode 4. Oh wow. Oh boy. I'm just gonna do away with like spoiler warnings. I'm just going to go right into it because I don't think many people care. They just want to know what it is. As the Rings of Power says, you want the meat and you want it raw. Give me the meat and give it to me raw. My accent is terrible, but that's kind of what. So look, Tom Bombadil, he shows up, is in this episode, and he's not Tom Bombadil. Holy crap, was that a sad fart of Tom Bombadil. Galadriel, girl bosses, like she's girl boss ever before. We also have an Entwife. Yes, that's all. We saw it coming. We knew they were going to go there, but it's not the Entwives. It was a singular Entwife. And wow. There is such a pointless and annoying side kind of plot with these Harfoots. The Harfoots were just so awful in season 1. They're a psychopathic race and they're idiots. They are absolute brain-dead morons. And shock horror, we saw the Nori and Poppy get blown off into the sky. They should be dead. They're not surviving that. But of course, this is Rings of Power where people survive the ridiculous all the flipping time. And so, of course, they're alive. Like, it's just taken for granted. It's a given. Elrond jumping off of a cliff. There's massive waterfall. Of course, yeah, it's going to be fine. Oh, my gosh. This is such a dumb show. But yeah, they're alive. And then we're forced to follow them on this stupid side plot thing that you like. Look, I don't care about anything that happens in this, but this is particularly boring. Barrow-wights appear, and I got some comments about that as well. And so it's interesting that, like, if you kind of try and break it down, things seem to happen, yet it feels like nothing at the same time because it's just so boring. Oh my gosh. So, chat, it is good to see you all here. Thank you for joining me, and we will dive into this. What do we have here? It was impossible to watch this episode. None of the plot lines are engaging or even manageable to watch. Yeah. Like, this is impressive how tough this show is to watch. At least I only have to survive one episode this week, because last week, as you saw, go back and watch the other live stream reviews, that nearly killed me. Oh, my gosh. This is like anti-bingeable episode. It's so bad. So with just that, those are kind of just the broad kind of summaries. And yes, it's boring. Stupid, silly stuff happens. It's part of the course. Like sometimes you wonder if a show comes out and is like, maybe there will be a good episode. And even in a good show like series, sometimes there's the occasional bad episode. If Rings of Power does anything impressively, it's how consistently bad they are at this. Like, they don't know how to write anything near Tolkien, so they're constantly just trying to fake it with these horrible, lines and stuff. Oh, gosh. All right. So with the preamble kind of addressed, let's dive into the Rings of Power episode 4. And as we begin, we have a super chat from James Sat for $10. Meanwhile, Sauron gets killed by a few orcs, and the 2 times he was killed in the lore, he only returned because of the ring. Here, he can just turn into goo. Yeah. That still ticks me off, how pathetically he was killed by a couple of orcs. Unbelievable. So, Rings of Power. It begins with Galadriel talking with Elrond, because Elrond is the leader. Remember, he is leading that mission to contact Celebrimbor. Okay. Mage's Guild for $10. This was the worst episode of television I have ever watched. They copy-pasted the old forest in the house of... It's the whole, yeah, in the house of Tom Bombadil and the Barrow-downs, because their audience have never read the books. Yeah, they full on just lift that. It's like, oh, you remember the tree and that moment in Lord of the Rings when the hobbits start to kind of get consumed by the tree and Tom Bombadil comes and saves him? Yeah, they're going to totally appropriate that. They totally appropriate the Barrow-downs as well. Yeah, and this is like a desperate attempt at trying to do kind of like key jangling, member berries, like, but even though it doesn't fit in the time period where this is supposed to fit in, it's completely out of place. And yes, like the elves just don't look like elves, flat. And so they're walking around, they're talking, and do we have subtitles on? Sometimes we want to see some of their commentary as they're going. Okay, so there is a comment here, which is almost like Galadriel kind of admitting that she's awful, where she basically says, you should, like, what do you mean? You can trust me? Kind of admitting that she's aware of all the horrible things that she's done, right? And that she's completely not trustworthy. She's a bit of a psycho. So, yeah, they're like, still no word from Celebrimbor. And Elrond's like, we could do that. Are you certain that's wise? Blah, blah, blah. And kind of Galadriel, she's very much thinking that she should be in charge. All right. But anyway, that comment was just like, it's a bit of a matter like, yeah, you're not trustworthy. Anyway, can't find the exact time she says it. So then it cuts to them traveling. And like Elrond flat out just said, it's like ages away. How many leagues away is this? And they've showed pretty consistently when they've been traveling over long distances or in a speedy way. What are they usually traveling on? Horses. So I found this kind of odd. They're just legging it on foot. And it's like, you guys are traveling really fast. You've got horses. You've shown us they have horses. Why are you now suddenly on foot? Even the messengers you said with Celebrimbor were on horses. Why are you going on foot? Where'd the horses go? So, again, this show has a big problem with consistency. Mage's Guild $5. They left it because they figure that the audience have only seen the films and would not know that they just stole it all. Yeah, now, I mean, stealing, like, it's an interesting thing because they're certainly taking, like stealing in a sense, because it doesn't belong in this story or this time period. And so they just kind of grab anything that they can get their hands on to get bait people in. But also remember that other stuff was written by Tolkien. He's a much better writer. And so it's like, can they not come up with anything creative on their own? Yeah, where the horses at? But no, all right. They're just, and look, you know why I think they didn't give him horses? Honestly, I think it's because they wanted it to copy the Fellowship, you know, the Hobbits. Now we know why they didn't have horses, because they were traveling over some really difficult terrain. They even had to let the pony, I forget the pony's name, but he couldn't go through. But they did have a pack horse with them. But he couldn't go through the mines of Moria, so they let him go. All right. But there's those epic sweeping shots in the Jackson trilogy of the Fellowship, you know, on foot, walking over mountains. They desperately want to copy that. And so have a look at this. Right? A sweeping, you know, panning angle shot with people walking over mountains and hills. It's like these people, these creators, they can't think of anything creative. They have to just continually copy a better, you know, work than theirs. Yes, Bill the pony. It was Bill, you heathen. Bill is a superstar. How dare I forget Bill? Bill is great. So flat out just copying that shot right there. And then they come to, look at this, more running along, going along, you know, the map now. Horses are probably dead after Galadriel chasing Elrond for 1,000 kilometers non-stop. Mages Guild for $10. I laughed my ass off at Nori and not Sam yeeting themselves off a cliff at the orcs busting into... Oh, yeah, the orcs busting into flames. We will get there, Mages Guild. Yeah, I was just like, what? Orcs bursting into flames as if they were soaked in kerosene and the exploding lamp. Seppuku, Elrond, and Harfoots. Like, there is some impressively dumb things in this episode, which is perfect. Like this whole show is impressive with how stupid and dumb it is. So they get to a bridge, and the bridge is destroyed. And it's like, that seemed like a pretty well-built bridge. What on earth could have taken this thing out? And Elrond just kind of looks at it, and he says, lightning. And then Galadriel in response says, no earthly force could do this. And he instantly like, it's Sauron. And I think, what the hell? Like, excuse me. This show has unwittingly shown near every location where Sauron has been, basically since the defeat of Morgoth now. And ironically, I break it down, and they were so dumb to do this because it literally contradicts stupid things that they had in episode 1. I was so stupid, but they contradict and they can't keep track of this, right? But defeat of Morgoth, they show Sauron in his other form, trying to recruit the orcs and say, there'll be a new Dark Lord, I'm going to be the Dark Lord. And it was basically, the context was that was after the defeat of Morgoth, right? Even though supposedly he was supposed to have killed Galadriel's brother, like a portion of time after that defeat of Morgoth, right? But did he just sneak it in there before this meeting with the orcs? Then they kill him. A bunch of orcs kill him. He reduced to a slime, and is in that slime form. If you go back and watch that episode 1, there's a cut, and they show stalactites and stalagmites growing in their transition, and so they're basically implying Sauron was in that goo form for like 500 years. The 500 years that Galadriel was searching for him, he was just a pile of goo. And then he reconstituted himself as Halbrand, and we get the chronology of how he goes from Halbrand into the ocean. He meets Galadriel, and then it's the events of season 1, and now we're in season 2, and we know very clearly, like, at the end of season 2, he was walking into Mordor, and now at the beginning of season 2, he's met with Adar, and has gone back to Celebrimbor, okay? So where the hell did he get time to blow up a friggin' bridge? And they really indicated that he has no lackeys, he has no servants, he was out on his own, and that was really strongly established in season 1, where he was just like, I just want to stay here for the rest of my life and be a blacksmith. He was ready to give it all up. He lost all his connections, right? And now he's having to regain, but he did not have time to blow up this bridge and then summon the Barrow-wights. And the Barrow-wights shouldn't even be there, right? But they say it's because of Sauron that these guys have woken up from their summers and it's so stupid. When did he do any of this? Oh, his magic can be in multiple places at one time? I don't think so. I don't think he'd do that. But he seemingly is teleporting between Mordor and Eregion. But the thing is, that's actually a plot, because they actually do imply he had to travel. He's just been traveling way too quickly. Gary Barber for $5 says, who was the better actor, Mordecai Clark or Mr. Ed? That's why they don't use horses. Mr. Ed, didn't they put like peanut butter on the horse's lips to make him talk? So I can't tell if it's the directing, if it's the character work, or if it's the actor. All I know is Galadriel is a very annoying, insufferable character. So she throws out this line, no earthly force could do this, right? Which is just like, I think Elrond's assumption about lightning might do that, okay? Mages Guild for $10 says, the message to Celebrimbor was intercepted by Barrow-wights, which means that Sauron didn't stop it personally. He had no way to know that Celebrimbor wouldn't know who he was. Make it make sense. Yes, 100%. But the thing is, though, the show is trying to tell us that he literally summoned the Barrow-wights just because he was able to do it. I don't know. He's able to project his evil across half the world, half Middle Earth, right? To where the Barrow-downs are, to pull them out of their slumber. It's like, it's stuffed he's doing. No. And he didn't travel there either, but the show's just going to say, no, that's what happened, right? And also, it means that the messengers, okay, that there is no other path to get to Eregion because of this bridge collapse apart from through the Barrow-downs, when actually it wasn't. Elrond actually says that there are 2 ways to get there. But the thing is, it's not even just necessarily 2 ways, because even if you have 2 general paths that you need to go around to get past these big natural obstacles, all right, there's still a vast, wide kind of, pathway that you can pick, because they're not going on a road, they're just traveling through the wilderness. And so because they're traveling through the wilderness, there's no definitive road that can guarantee that they will definitely go by this path. And what I'm saying is the likelihood that even the messengers and Elrond and his crew would definitely travel right through the Barrow-downs, but there's no road there, and they have to be very like, it doesn't seem like it's covering miles of terrain. It's this very specific location. Is just circumstantial bullcrap. There's no guarantee that they'll just happen to pass right over the Barrow-downs because you're taking out a bridge. What if they went the second way? But even if they did, like I said, vast swath. And so they're trying to say that this is a master plan that Sauron has concocted to, manipulate them to travel through the Barrow-downs, where they'll get attacked and then waylaid and the message will get stopped. When there's no guarantee it would work like that. It's friggin' absolute nonsense. Yet that's unironically what they're trying to get you to swallow. All right? Nonsense. We are Harbinger. I can't say that word all of a sudden. $5 says, from a fellow dweller of the proto-dystopia of Victoria. Dude, condolences. Even if you are not big into Lord of the Rings, this show is just bad. Average IQ in Rings of Power is about 77. Yeah, this show is just bad. And I'm going into some of the reasoning why. Because they are relying on arbitrary nonsense, complete circumstantial luck, that are actually crucial plot points that the entire, plot of this story is hanging on. Okay, because if that message that Gil-galad sent wasn't stopped by the Barrow-wights, Sauron would have been completely exposed when he went to Eregion. But he just walks in like he's completely assured that they don't know who that is Sauron, when he actually has no guarantee about that at all. There's no guarantee that they would go through the Barrow-downs. Nonsense. Mages Guild $5 says, the Barrow-wights were created by the Witch King of Angmar in the lore. He isn't around yet. Yes, that's what I've heard, right? Nor is his ring. They appeared during the fall of Arnor. But they're going to rip it out of a lot of stuff and force it in here because, well, I mean, people didn't get to see the Barrow-downs in the Jackson trilogy and they didn't get to see Tom Bombadil. And so we'll put it in our show and people will come because they want to see those characters. They want to see the characters in the correct place and also depicted properly as well, because Tom Bombadil in this show is a joke. And what's kind of funny, he's meant to actually be a bit of a happy-go-lucky, jokey kind of person in that sense. But is so serious and stoic, and their adaptation of him is a joke because it's not actually being jokey enough. Okay, so back to this. That's the conversation, and that's the setup of what's going on. And also, right, if we go back and have a look at this chasm thing, like the bridge is being taken out. They're going to be wasting a lot of time going around this chasm. One way is like 2 weeks, which is holy crap. How much of a detour does this thing go for? Which does surely there would be a more narrow place, maybe a rope bridge or something along the lines. This couldn't be the only crossing for like leagues upon leagues, right? Oh my gosh. But also, it's like, hang on, Galadriel showed in season 1 that she can scale sheer cliff faces with a single dagger. They could just climb. They've literally shown that she is a master cliff climbing person thing. This is one of the problems with like Mary Sue characters when you just make them so amazing. It's very hard to have them be challenged in a way that actually feels consistent, because when a challenge comes like this and you've already shown her so amazing that she's overcome problems that are equally as difficult, it's like she could just scale the whole thing. Her and her elf people did it. But no, they're now, because it's convenient for the plot, that they need to go through the Barrow-downs, which is this really small location, right? Well, we need to force a detour, but bridge destroyed. How? Don't know. Sauron magic from telekinesis. I don't freaking know. But it's so stupid, all right? Yeah, exactly. Mage's Guild. I made the note as well. Why not climb down and up? Galadriel could do it. She's done it before. But now, because the plot says so, it's like, oh, this is just insurmountable. And for an average person, it would. But Galadriel is a Mary Sue awesomest person ever. And boy, she becomes that girl boss again in this episode. You'll see. Oh my gosh. All right. So yeah. What other paths might we take? And then this is where they mention, 2 paths. And Galadriel has a vision. Bro keep raging and it's making me laugh. We are Harbinger for $2 says, better yet, imagine if Galadriel could use magic. Yes. Now they're trying to have some of this magical abilities manifesting, but they're really making it look like it's all from the ring, that her magic is only manifesting thanks to wearing the ring. And so she has a vision here, right? And she basically sees the Barrow-downs. It's really dark, man. When this show shows something in nighttime, you barely can see a thing. Oh god. And so she sees the Barrow-downs, and she's like, "Oh, bad juju. This is the way that Sauron wants us to go, and the ring is revealing it to me." But Elrond's like, "I don't trust the ring." Yeah, she says, "I sense something ancient and filled with malice." The enemy is doubtless watching both roads. So they're actually trying to say that, like, Sauron can just project his eye. It's not like his, the watching, burning eye that can see things that the One Ring sees when it puts it on something like. They have not defined his powers at all. And so, especially when they made him so pathetically weak and limited as Halbrand and when his previous form, all right? And so, if he wasn't using any significant powers or abilities then, like, how can he just project now and see he's watching? And they didn't show that he had lackeys to report to him either. So, this is basically them trying to justify going the other way. And Galadriel wants to go the longer route because it's not where the ring it's not where the bad stuff the ring showed her. And everyone's like, "I don't trust the ring, so we're going that way anyway." And listen, and I'm the boss, so listen to me. It's like, this company will not take counsel from that trinket, nor will you. Now, I don't mind that they're actually giving Elrond a bit of backbone against her, because he was a bit of a wet rag in season 1 to anything Galadriel. But this time is actually telling her a bit of, no, I'm in charge, suck it up. So, they might have been able to make something out of this, right? But they ultimately don't and won't. We know, the talent that's on display. And because especially like towards the end of this episode, when the big fight comes out, right? Who do you think fights and who do you think runs away? Yes, yeah, it's Galadriel. She's the bestest ever, right? So they are going to go the other way, and then you remember this is where we're back to the out of all the plots, this is the worst one by far. Yeah, Elrond is still a wet rag. I agree. And so Discount Gandalf is looking for Nori and Poppy. And he can't find them, and he just is wandering around. He finds a goat, follows the goat, and the goat brings him to Tom Bombadil, who is just hanging out in the middle of nowhere. What? Excuse me? Mage's Guild for $10. I will put money on the Dark Istar in Rhun being Saruman. really, like, because they're making him evil, and that Saruman, I didn't think Saruman was showing any evil tendencies until the events of the Lord of the Rings, right? Because he was the good guy before then, and then he decided to switch sides. But continuing, I don't think they have the creative ability to make him one of the blue wizards. Not that there were any Istar in the Second Age. Yeah, I've heard that. This is even before when the wizards should even be around. But thank you very much, Mage Guild, for the $10 super chat. And Babylon for 25 PLN says the 3 rings were last to be created. The lesser rings were an exercise to learn the craft. Isn't it strange that they succeeded on their first try? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Sauron had no hand in the creation of those rings, apart from them being made with the craft he taught, but he didn't get to seep any of his darker influences into the 3 elven rings. But yeah, they got that order completely backwards. And you'd think these things aren't hard to do. Well, you wait for it. You'll see Tom Bombadil, and he's just so sad, right? So Discount Gandalf is walking around, and this is where he meets Tom Bombadil. And look, Tom Bombadil's kind of ignoring him and just throwing stuff in his face. Isn't that like whimsical Tom Bombadil? It's not even close. And he throws something in his face. That's Tom Bombadil, right? Pardon me, I don't suppose you've seen a pair of halflings come this way. Maybe it's worth listening to his first lines.
Pair of halflings. This way.
First lines of Tom Bombadil. Ready? This is the reveal. There's old Tom. Justin Martins for $10 says, is there wagons in Rings of Power? Oh boy, well, it depends how wagons are used, but I know I'm pretty bigoted against wagons these days. I hope there's no wagons, although it'd be fun to watch you lose your mind. Don't want to see you give yourself an aneurysm from this crap. It's just not worth it. Well, you're bringing back flashbacks. If you don't know, watch my Willow reviews, and I think it was episode 3 or 4, just the wagons. Holy crap. Media these days. It's unbelievable what's happening to, the quality of media. And so, yeah, this is Tom Bombadil. Look how serious he is. Okay. They try to give him rosy cheeks, but that's about as much as I think they're managing. And let's see what he says. All right. Are we ready for it?
See, you found the goat.
See, you found the goats. So you found there's your Tom Bombadil, not this merry, happy, singing along guy. No. It's like this serious, stoic Tom Bombadil. And then they basically have this. They try to make him seem, mysterious, but he just
what you find.
Ends up coming off like foolishly vague. Like, let's listen to some of this, right? It wasn't quite what I was searching for.
Quite what I was searching for.
This is riveting dialogue, right?
Well, there is what you're searching for, and there is what you find now, isn't there?
Out! That is just perfect Tom Bombadil, isn't there? Oh, it depends what you're searching for. It depends what you find, isn't there? We are Harbinger for $5 says, I want to see more Galadriel sword fights to justify an aneurysm. Although maybe they'll give Tom a hammer and he'll shout, it's Bombadil in time. Something very well might. Like there were some spit moments in here. I probably wouldn't say aneurysm moments, but we're only up to episode 4. Okay. And who knows? We've almost had aneurysm moments, I think, with some of the stupid stuff. Yes, so wise dialogue, right? Like, what does that? It depends what you're searching for. It depends what you find, and it's like, really, is that supposed to be like some type of clever? You can see what they're trying to go for, but not what they're pulling off. So, more cryptic conversation, right? And Tom is just based and ready. His thing blows away. And they're trying to kind of say that this was, fate or something is doing it. And so this is to force the tree moment that they're ripping out of Lord of the Rings.
My apologies.
You know, and so he has to now chase the map that he lost, and that's going to lead him to a tree, but the tree has a stick on it that looks like a staff. And it's like, that looks good, like a staff. And then the tree eats him. This is the tree eats him, and he's like stuck in there for what seems like a good while, because instead of like having Tom come and save him, it just cuts away. The scene closes, and it's like, oh, okay, so Discount Gandalf is dead, I guess. Because again, panning away, and then it cuts. Guess who? Guess who? Oh, they're alive! Are you guys surprised? Now, the thing is, though, effectively, they got blown away such a distance that it's near impossible for them to find each other. They just are almost like so far distant. They're separated now, which means that these, Harfoots got launched, what, kilometers away? Like miles? They should be dead. No way of surviving this. And look, it shows that they just kind of landed on the stone. Poppies in a bush. And they get up, they're fine. And they don't know where they are. And so this is crap. They see some bad guys on a horse. And so they're like, run! They run, they jump off a thing, they roll down, and they, again, this show relies on contrived circumstantial nonsense to drive the plot forward, because they can't think of a way that makes sense to have certain characters run into each other or get stopped or messages way later, anything like that. And so, of course, they're going to have one of those things again where they roll down and they happen to roll right in front of this person, right, is a long-lost halfling person from their long-lost tribe that the Harfoots originally left from. What are the chances that you ran into this bloke? Good thing that windstorm just blew you the right direction, exact position, Miles. A good thing you survived. That when you then trying to run away from a bad guy, you roll down a cliff and you roll just perfect right in front of a member of the long-lost tribe your ancestors originally migrated away from. Wow. The circumstantial contrived nonsense of that is astronomical. But that's what happens. And screw off. What is that? That's one of the Harfoots, but these Harfoots, they're halflings. They give them a weird kind of name term. But the end of the episode basically ends up saying or explaining this is where the Harfoots originally left from. Oh, wait. Oh, this is some stellar dialogue. Wait for this. All right. So they ask him who he is. So we need to wait. And they unironically having like him giving lovey eyes to Poppy. It's like, hang on, are you actually going to try and force a love story with Poppy? Like, you're devoting your time to this crap? Because it starts like, ooh. And so Harfoots live here, they're saying. What's a Harfoot? They say, well, you are. Anyway, all right. I want to get where they ask his name. And this guy is dead. So who are you exactly? Okay. You'd think you would understand that question. Who are you exactly? And he says, I'm nobody. And he says it confidently like that's his name. But then they're like, nobody calls you that. And he's like, oh, my mum calls me this. It's like, could he not figure out they were asking what his name was and he didn't know that the thing his mum calls him was his name? So I'm nobody. It's like, well, you can't be nobody. Well, that's what everybody calls me. And they'd like try to say, like, because people are teasing him, is like he doesn't understand what his name is, the name that his mother calls him. Everybody calls you, doesn't that anybody call you something? Well, my mum calls me Merrimack. And this guy's too dense to know that that's his name, and that's what you would tell people. Are they trying to make these characters some of the dimmest characters ever written? Hey. And this is the show, right? Like, this is Rings of Power, riveting stuff. And then they like, he stole water. No, he didn't. And then he's going to run off and they're going to follow him and is going to lead them to where they live, even though he's not supposed to leave. So this guy is really, really dense. Anyway, so he tells them that there's rules following in to where his people live. And he forgets to tell them one of the rules. And I go down and there's like, look, they're living in holes in the ground. That's kind of like giving them an idea about something, because you know where hobbits live, right? Are you seeing the connections? I wonder if this show thinks it's clever by doing stuff like this. It's like, I know what the Lord of the Rings fan base wanted to know. They wanted to know the origin of why hobbits live in holes in the ground. Well, this doesn't even really explain it. You could infer it that they're just trying to hide from bad guys. But no, they make some note to, like, you know, mention that, they're living in holes. How odd. Look how much time is being devoted to this. We're not Harfoots, blah, blah, blah. We need a place to hide. So there you go. That explains why they're living in the ground. And if you're wondering if these are, not hobbits, are as psychopathically, inclined as the Harfoots, well, just listen to what this lady says. Let's see if we can catch it. So, she talks about, don't you dare talk back. Give one good reason why they shouldn't basically string him out to die is effectively what she says. Let's see if we can listen to that.
Go on, plead your case.
All right, let's maybe that's
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't feed you leg, limb, and joint to those Galadriel hunting you out there.
Feed you leg, limb, and joint to these psychopathically murderous guys out there. It's like, so just some, random travelers come upon you, and their response, if you don't give me a good reason, we're going to murder you. What the hell? If anything, you can say they're consistent with the halflings in this show. They're all insanely evil. And they'll murder whoever doesn't do what they want. Like, holy crap. Did they not get the message of how vile and awful the Harfoots were in season 1? That were like, we're not going to change that. We need to make these ones just as bad. Piston for €2 says, you need another storm so you don't have to watch Rings of Power. Yeah, in case you didn't know. Yeah, because weekly Night's Watch live streams, which we call the Crusade, I mentioned that there was a windstorm that knocked down a good number of trees on the Shadlands and stuff. And so, but also we cover other things that happen in the week. So go check out the Night's Watch live streams as well, everyone. And we got 500 people watching us. Awesome to see you all. Thank you for joining. So, these Harfoots, they're evil psychopaths as well. I know, right? Why are all the hobbits in this show evil? I don't know. But it seems intentional now if you have a completely different halfling race of people be like that. And then I just say some random crap about, we've got a wizard with it. Oh, because they don't even get the nice treatment. As soon as they mention that they've got a wizard with them, she's like, wizards are bad. There's a bad wizard in this land, and you've got a wizard, so you must be bad. So tie him up.
Yeah, tie him up.
Psycho. Oh my gosh. Yep. Consistently bad. And so now this is the bad wizard. And look, I do wonder if they're going to make this guy Saruman, but Saruman shouldn't have been evil at this point, to my understanding. So this guy is saying we just got basically destroyed. The guy summoned this big windstorm, knocked us out, and now they're separated. And I'm thinking, like, hang on, you travel. How close or centralized is this guy's base? you realize you're wasting a lot of opportunity to capture the Harfoots by coming back and reporting what happened. Whereas, like, if you're really determined to find him, wouldn't you just keep tracking him? But anyway, he's like, no, the wizard, he's making his way north, and the Harfoots were scouring the desert for them. And so this guy, right? Critical Drinker raised a good point in his review of the first 3 episodes, where this is like the Easterlings or the Eastern area. So the creators had an opportunity to have what they would consider a diverse casting, someone with darker skin in this role that would make sense in the lore. But they cast a really white guy in this. It's like, if you're desperate for that representation, you had the opportunity. That would make sense this time. And then they cast a white guy there. It's like, gosh, you guys can't even figure your own stuff out. 100% Saruman, you think? If I would be a bit pissed if this was Saruman, really, like, because this guy is got like those evil, like Slim Shady devil people serving him and stuff. Oh man, it better not be Saruman. So Mage's good $5 says Saruman shouldn't be evil. Tom Bombadil shouldn't be in Rhun. The Elven rings should be last. Barrow-wights shouldn't exist. I think I made my point. Yes, thank you, Mage's Guild. And that's what I thought. Saruman shouldn't be evil. At this point, is still a servant of, is it a servant of Luvatar? Like, he was sent to Earth with the same mission as Gandalf, and he was kind of following that, and he was still the head kind of guy amongst those wizards and stuff. Gandalf completely trusted him. It was only until he turned completely evil. And so there's a reason why Gandalf trusted him. I thought he was a decent, supposed to be good at that point. Buddy Rabbit, good to see you, mate, for $5, is going to be the Witch King. Don't ask why he's in Rhun. Just consume product. Buddy Rabbit, you might have a point there. Thank you for the super chat. It might be the Witch King. I don't know enough about the lore, because I thought the Witch King wasn't he like a king of men? Like, because he was one of the kings that got the rings. He wasn't a wizard. I thought he was supposed to be a king, leader of men. Okay, so that's him. And he's like, look, leave the Istar to me. You just go after the halflings. And all of that, we come back to discount Gandalf in the tree. And I'm thinking, how long has he been in this tree then? Like 10 minutes, an hour? It doesn't seem like he can breathe in there. So I guess he's dead, right? I'm sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing GIRLBOSS. Thank you for the super chat. I apologize for the pronunciation. Let's not forget, El Farazon is the guy that pissed off Iluvatar so badly he burned him alive and destroyed Numenor. Damn, they destroyed him. Yeah. He also, I think he forcefully married the queen as well in the Silmarillion. And so, but I wonder if they're going to show that she will accept his, marriage to try and retain some power. But they can't have him force her to marry him, because that's robbing her of her agency. And that's not right in the modern day. I think that's how it's happened in the books, though. Buddy Rat for $2 says, why would that stop them? Yeah. Good point. So, Gandalf. Don't discount Gandalf, because it's not really Gandalf. Oh, but first we got another super chat from Gorbs, €5, I think that is. As far as I recall, Saruman only became evil due to his obsession with finding the One Ring, which is not made yet. That's my understanding as well. And that he thought that there was no way to defeat Sauron when he was coming back, and that, men were weak and stuff like that. And so he was just trying to save himself. And those were the reasons then. So it would not make sense for Saruman to be evil at this point. And Jel Dutri, the guy who did the super chat before, is explaining that his name is Dutch. And that's, look, it's not your fault that it's Dutch. It's my fault for being a retard. But you just have to, Australians are great at butchering languages. We did a masterful job with English. So just get used to me butchering pronunciations of many things. All right. And then this is where they are stealing the moment from Lord of the Rings. In Lord of the Rings, Frodo and Sam, I believe, are the ones that get swallowed up by the tree, and Tom Bombadil literally gets like introduced into the book by saving them, and they are just ripping it off completely, and even have him say the lines, I'm pretty sure.
You should not be working. Eat earth.
And look at the delivery. Eat earth, dig deep. Could you sound more depressed and dull? This is Tom Bombadil it's supposed to be. But it's not. This isn't Bombadil.
Dig deep.
Dig deep.
In water.
Gosh. Yeah, I'm shook. I guess. But that's really a follow-on from his previous chat. I can't believe it got a second season. I'm shook. Exactly. The Almighty Fox is asking, where is my singing Tom Bombadil? You know, they have some humming. He hums a couple of songs really softly. That's your singing Tom Bombadil. That's it right there. This kind of shows me that they not like they say they love the source material. They don't love the source material, and they don't trust the source material to adapt it faithfully, even when they're ripping it off and forcing it into places that it doesn't fit. Tom Bombadil has no place here, right? With what's going on. But even if they were going to rip this off, at least have the balls and respect to do it properly. But I get the impression that they think a book accurate Tom Bombadil wouldn't come off right. It's like, oh, we've got to make it for the modern audience and it has to be serious and stoic and stuff. And it's like that, as I mentioned, gives the impression you don't even like Lord of the Rings if you don't trust that you can just do the material as it is as best you can. Buddy Rabbit, $5. If this guy isn't the Witch King, Al-Farazon might be. This guy is definitely going to be a Nazgul. Maybe. Don't know. Talking about that evil wizard guy. Buddy Rabbit is. So, yeah. And then he lets Gandalf come free. And Gandalf's like, who are you? You've got such amazing magical powers. Yeah. And, but back in the Withywindle, right. I used to be called, folks used to call me Bombadil. Maybe you want to listen to that. Listen to his delivery.
Tom Bombadil.
Tom Bombadil.
A while since I've been called much of anything, but back in the Withywindle, folk used to call me...
Such a dull, flat delivery. And yet that's Bombadil. Yeah. So, that is Tom Bombadil. And then, Disco Gandalf, he's having a bath, and he hears Bombadil talking to, I forget her name, but it's the, I forget her, but he mentions her, right? And he hears it in the background, but you don't see him. And it's like, someone out there with you, and it's just dragging on. This stuff is boring. You get to see some of Tom Bombadil's magic.
You find my friend next. You look.
Right? He pokes something. A Goldberry. And Dubia 85 for 10 says, where TF is Goldberry? That's her name. Thank you for the super chat. And he mentions her. He says, oh, something Goldberry, but you don't see her. And then he's like, who's with me? You're with me. And he just avoids the question.
Look up.
So he stabs, a piece of paper.
There's a sea of tiny eyes.
And he is mentioning that now there are stars, indicating that he came from a time when there wasn't stars.
Still newcomers.
And then he turns paper into bread. And Discount Gandalf is so amazed by the magic. Is like, you can control wind and other things. Want you to teach me. And Tom's like, oh, teach you. I can't even remember exactly. And there's like, okay, give me a branch or something like that. So this magic, can you teach it to me? Let's.
Can you teach it to me?
Now, he already has magic. He just has no control. That's what they've been trying to convey.
Teach you?
What's to learn way out here?
What's to learn way out here? Like, a lot of the dialogue seems to be like just trudgy, meandering, boring, pointless slop. That's like, oh wow, this episode just drags on so much because of this. Chicken Pork Adobo for $5 says season 2 Rotten Tomatoes score starting to go down. I bet they'll blame the fans for being toxic, ist, and phobes. This show is a 1 billion fanfic flop. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the response is to this. I've heard that, the viewership is already dropping off, understandably, because the first 3 episodes were just so boring. Dialogue sounds empty and non-existent. I agree. Our buddy Rabbit for $5 says, have the captions named that evil wizard yet? I'd be curious to see what the actor is credited for playing. I don't think they've mentioned him. I'll try and pay attention as we're going through here, because that would be interesting. And so, yes, it's like you wield the magic as if it belongs to you, and then might you teach me how to wield a staff?
Wield a staff?
It's so flat.
Wizard staff is like a name.
It's like a name. Remember what he said about a name? It's just, you just have a name. It's not given to you.
It's yours to wield already, if you prove yourself worthy of it.
This is like mysterious and deep. That's what they want you to think, okay? When it's just like airy-fairy sludge. There's no real substance to this dialogue. Gosh, and it just drags on. And he mentions that there was another wizard that came to see him years ago, and he mentions that that's the bad wizard. The bad wizard also came to this place to see Bombadil at one point. And there's a slight bit of information about that. Yeah, also used.
No, there was another. The Dark Wizard.
The Dark Wizard. And I think that's just what they call him. They call him the Dark Wizard. He's the bad guy. Interesting. So they are going out of his way to call him like the Dark Wizard, the bad wizard. Remember how I was wondering why it's like, this is an opportunity. You're in the eastern area. It's their opportunity to cast, one of their more, representative roles. They could have cast, someone with darker skin in that role. And do you think they avoided it because he was going to be a villain? There is that trend. You see a trend where a lot of the bad guys are conspicuously pale in many media. And they specifically call him the Dark Wizard. Would that have been too on the nose to call him the Dark Wizard if he had dark skin? Is that what they're doing, right? I wouldn't put it past them. They are that sensitive to being politically correct, all right? The Dark Wizard. Oh, gosh, this just is so boring. You believe his evil will spread. And so it's like, Tom Bombadil's like, yeah, evil will spread. Sauron and the Dark Wizard, and Discount Gandalf has to deal with both of them. Sauron and the Dark Wizard. That's his mission. And when I heard that, I was like, I thought like Discount Gandalf, they weren't supposed to directly interfere with the things, but their main role was to encourage and teach the people of Middle Earth to overcome evil for themselves. And chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was my understanding of the role of Gandalf and the wizards that were sent. And also, wasn't Gandalf's powers actually limited as well to prevent that actual thing happening, to prevent him from being able to basically just take on Sauron himself? That is not known. It's the role of the people of Middle Earth to deal with their own issues. You can guide, but you can't do the job for them. Is that correct? Because if that's correct, that's contradicted by what they're saying here, because Bombadil is basically telling him, oh no, it's your job to deal with Sauron and the evil wizard. I'm guessing that's Discount Gandalf in this. So the chat says Gandalf can only use his powers to protect others or himself. Okay. The Istari were sent to act as guides for the people of Middle Earth. That's my understanding. We have Damon X. He says, yeah, wizards Istari were purposely stripped from most of their power just to not become another Sauron. Okay, so like I said, that was my understanding. But now they're saying no, and that's why like the level of his power doesn't really make sense. He just like summoned a tornado nuke before, and he can't control it. So I wonder if part of the plot that they're going to try and do here is that he is fully powered here, but is going to do something that'll cause that power to get stripped away. I wonder if that's where they're going. So it continues, and while you're watching this, you're just falling asleep. That was that whole scene. It's like, gosh. That was rough. That was rough. And so now we are up to find out where Theo is, because you remember, like, Theo was kidnapped. Actually, no, it's not Theo. No, we're not up to him yet. We will get to him. I think this is the Barrow-wights scene, where Elrond and the elves, see how dark it is? You can barely see it. Yeah, they walk and they run into the Barrow-wights. And there's a couple of things that just don't even add up with the context of the show with what I say, let alone the bullcrap that this is completely in the wrong period with the chronology of the Silmarillion and the lore. Yeah. I was watching episode 4. I skipped the Harfoot scenes. I couldn't do it. They are so boring. They're the worst parts of this horrible show. Okay, so let's see what they say. Like, this is the mentioning where they're at.
Known to men as the Barrow-downs.
Known to men as the Barrow-downs. Okay. So it's like, if you got, like, surely you could have just walked around them. They don't cover like a massive area. If they were worried that this is going to be some issue, just, take a kilometer detour. It'll only take you half an hour. You're not going to lose too much time. But no, they have to walk right through the Barrow-downs, and they feel like this place is evil, basically.
In ancient days, this was where they laid their lords and kings
to rest. All right. And so I have a note here. I just want to make sure Oh, yeah. Still hate that they're talking in common. No, like, wouldn't they talking Elven? But maybe they are talking to Elven, and it's like that it's an auto translation. So they're walking through, and there's whispering. They hear like whispering, and then one guy looks into like. Yeah, he looks into the dark and he sees like glowy, scary eyes.
I thought I heard.
Heard. Let's see if we can see. Oh yeah, boom, boom, boom. See the eyes. And so when they appear, they like, what are these things? And but first they find the killed messenger, elves before, which raises all the issues before. It's like, so this was planned by Sauron. How did he know that they would guarantee to go past here when he took out that bridge? Which is nonsense. And so one of the guys that they're talking just gets like latched by some chains. And they can't save him, but man, see how dark this is? I don't know. It's like, even when I take this off, right? This is what you can see. Okay, so we have like the Witch King did not make the Barrow-wights. He can only empower them and make them stronger. They existed in the first age. I need confirmation on that. And a lot of people telling me that they did not exist in this time period. Okay, yeah, I am showing a bit more, but I think I'll be safe. We got a super chat from Dubia for 85 for 10. Says, second age Eriador was a nice place prior to the War of Elves and Sauron, prior to forging of the One Ring. Not this place they are depicting. Okay, because they're saying this is Eriador, are they? They don't care about being accurate. They only want the member berries. And look, you remember Barrow-wights from the books? Well, now we've got Barrow-wights. All right, so let's watch some of. Is this where one of the guys? Because one of the guys get latched by chains, and he basically gets dragged in and killed straight away. They can't save him. And then the Barrow-wights come out. And they say, like, what are they? And they're like, they are Barrow-wights. And when they said that, I was like, hang on, wouldn't they just be whites? If you knew that they were Barrow-wights, that they were like whites specifically associated with these barrows, the Barrow-downs, that would indicate that you knew ahead of time that they were there. So why are you traveling through them? All right. Otherwise, they would just be, they're whites. And this is the first time you're seeing them. Right. But in that sense, you wouldn't know them specifically as the Barrow-wights. So I just, I had a question mark with that. Buddy Rabbit $5 says, Nitpick, Istari is plural. The show calling him Istari is like calling Aragon the men. Istari is the singular form. I hate this show. Well, thank you for suffering with me, Buddy Rabbit. We appreciate you. So they try and fight the Barrow-wights, but they can't kill him. Let's and they just kind of regrow. Right? It's like, they can't kill them with their weapons, and then what's his name? Elrond is like, I know. And so basically they rip open a barrow, they pull out some of the old swords, and then they can kill the whites with the weapons that they were buried with. And Aragorn is just like, I read in lore somewhere that they can only be killed this way. So, damn, good thing you read that thing. Otherwise, you would have been stuffed. Let's see this. Yeah, this is where he says it.
For law, only the blades with which they were buried will return such creatures to rest.
Very lucky. Look, I guess I could accept it. They've portrayed Elrond in this as a bookworm, a scribe, mostly. And so, anyway, that's how they defeat him. And they clearly forced the Barrow-wights in there just for that member berry kind of thing where they try and suck people in. You remember them, right? But by doing that, they've really messed up so much about what is Sauron's powers, what is his influence, how did Sauron know that? All those issues are now present because they were desperate to just force in this thing. Okay, so there's that. And now we're back to the Theo arc. Remember how he was captured by the Ents? You remember that? Well, now they're searching for him because he's such a likable character. We really want to know what happens to him. Are we Harbinger? We are Harbinger, for $5 says, the logic, elvish wisdom is thus. This place is super, super evil, known for the specific kind of monster. Time to go in, right? It seems like that. If they know of Barrow-wights and they come to a place that has barrows of dead, buried people in, like, there might be whites in there if we are familiar with such a thing as Barrow-wights. But no, they act really sort of, how could we have fallen for such a trick? Oh my gosh. I'm just going to be making some of my notes here. My pen is dying. All right. So they're looking for Theo now. And from memory, like, hang on, wasn't Isildur caught in that attack from the Ents? I'm wondering how he survived. But no, he's just fine. I think he might have just legged it and left Theo to die when he was in that desperate moment. He just hopped on his horse and legged it. So Isildur, you're looking great, mate. You're a real brave hero, good guy. All right. So anyway, they search for him. And gosh, like, who cares about Theo? He's such an unlikable character. Now I can't even... like, what's going on here? I can't even remember. This show is already forgettable. Okay, so they find the axe, I think, and they're like, oh, a bad woodsman person will never leave their axe. They treat those things as precious as gold. So then they have a meeting of who's going to go searching for him. Okay, and so they're having that plan, right? And I wonder. A lot of you guys who have come to the chat are saying that you haven't bothered watching this, and I get that. And for those of you who have, right? Did you get invested in anything that's going on here, like this moment right here as well? This is interesting. They're saying elvish weapons would almost certainly be able to kill wights. I could see that. That would make sense. In this one, I wouldn't send anyone. Yeah. So, nope. To my question about, was any of this engaging? Okay. So this supposedly outs her to discount Legolas because she's like, you need to go in this direction, and there are wildmen there. Let's see what she says.
I've spent weeks searching these lands, looking for loved ones. That part of the forest is old. Promise you there are wild men there, and worse.
And so, because they're trying to figure out where the wild men would have gone. And she says, up over in this location. Now, that's an odd kind of a line when you ponder it, which is, I promise you there are wild men there and worse. And what we find out, right, this part of the wood is filled with monsters. It's where these ent creatures are that basically murder anyone that hurts a tree. And on top of that, it's also the place where the goblin army has just recently marched through. All of that indicates that would be the last place where the wild men would want to hang out. But she's using that. These are the reasons why they're most likely there. It's like, no, all the reasons you gave indicates they wouldn't be there. We have a super chat from Charles Sapp for $20. Rings of Power, unable to do good character development, while the anime girls and Panzer can do good character development for even minor characters. Is that Girls Panzer or something? That's the anime with the tanks, I think. There is about 75 of them. Likable characters and fun of tank action. Yeah, I think it's the thing. Check it out. There you go. We have a recommendation. I've heard of that one. Thank you for the super chat. So they're going to go off, right, and search for this, and they're trying to show this, there's an attraction growing between Isildur and her. And then he comes in. Discount Legolas comes in and is like, let's see what he asks her, right? We ought to keep moving, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, wait a minute. You say you spent time among the wildmen, Estrid. Right? So I was asking this. How much time? Because now he's suspicious. And in fact, it's another odd moment here. He does say it. So let's listen to what he says here.
I wasn't exactly among them. I was hiding.
Do you need to be careful of that copyright? So I have to take it in spurts.
Did they ever do you harm?
So, did you ever do you harm? Right? Now, she instantly takes that as time to run. I don't think that question is such a, exposing question, because if she did spend any amount of time amongst these wild men, there's a chance that they could have harmed her in many ways. But she instantly intuits and knows that is in reference to the burn scar that she gave herself on the back to hide the mark of Adar. She just knows that, right? When it's like, I don't think that is an odd question in this context. W85 for $10. Why is Isildur a freaking pussy? It's a good question. Isildur, like in season 1 especially as well, he was pathetic. This is Isildur, right? You know the lore of Isildur and what he did? Isildur is just depicted horribly.
There, what you... I ask because I noticed a wound on your neck.
I noticed a wound on your neck. And so now I was asking, like, did they give you this wound, right? And so, okay, maybe this is the point where she could start to feel like, I'm getting exposed. But the thing is, though, he noticed a wound on her neck. It's like, I know he's got the elven eyes, but that is covered in hair. How closely has he been watching to see that wound, right?
Looks to be recent.
Looks to be recent. And then he says something that I also find odd as well. Chat, poor Shad suffering through another episode for us. I do it for you guys. I appreciate you. Because, it seems like you guys appreciate it.
No, that was my fault. I fell asleep by the fire.
Fell asleep by the fire. I was like, is that a convincing thing? Probably not. Like, if she was worried that people could find out about her doing the mark, maybe come up with a better excuse for it. She could have said that, yeah, the Wildmen did catch me and they hurt me. They wanted to brand me, and that they did that. I think that would have been a pretty one. It's really easy to come up with. I literally came up with it, and I think that would be perfectly, justifiable, convincing, right?
I should have put it out, but the night was cold. It was foolish of me.
But she comes up with something that's a lot more convoluted than that. Oh, the fire did it when I was asleep.
We all do foolish things sometimes, especially in moments of hopelessness.
And so she takes that as, he knows about the mark, right? She tries to run away. Catch it.
Astrid, what is this?
Now this I am actually wondering how the heck does Discount Legolas know what is about to say here?
Self-burn. The Wildmen do it to hide the mark of Ada.
It's like, how do you know that? We've seen the Wildmen, and they all happily display the mark of Ada. There was no one trying to hide it, okay? And there's been no indication that is a common thing or a thing that, he would have seen or noticed. But he just whips it out because characters in this show know things because they've read the script, basically. They just can intuit things from the ether. They've done it multiple times as well, where they just know Sauron's plan, his whole plan, why he was making the rings and everything. And I think there's a couple of other times in this episode that happens as well. So we'll see if that comes up again. And
We would have caught her at the gate had she not come in.
So hang on. Do they strip search people? It's like, makes you wonder. All right. So now she's the bad person. They're going to lock her up, and she is going to show them where they are. Actually, I want to read exactly. Let's rewatch what they get her to do. Carmen Ryder KFP for $10 says, if Adar wanted to send out his forces to infiltrate camps and waylay people on the roads, maybe he shouldn't have had very obvious brands put on all of them and openly exposed places. Great point, Carmen Ryder. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm like, is that even part of his plan, though? They've given no indication of that. And we've seen the Wildmen, and they're not trying to hide that mark at all. So the fact that good old Discount Legolas here just knows it, it's like, nah, that doesn't fit. We are Harbinger for $2 says, never trust village wenches. They might be witches. All right, so I want to hear what he says, because now they caught her. I get if I remember correctly, they're like, all right, she will lead us to the mountain men or whoever they are.
With you.
She's a Wildman.
She's a Wildman.
She's one of them.
She's one of them, right?
She's going to lead us to all the others.
Okay, all right. I thought so. And she's going to lead us to all the others. This is the thing, though. She doesn't. They've been captured by two Ents, and the Ents carry them to a place where they hang out, not where the Wildmen hang out. And so how can she lead them to the Wildmen when they're not even where the Wildmen are? She literally then leads them to where the Ents are. And so this is nonsense. again, she just pulls that out of the. She just knows where. Oh, the script says they're going to be in this location. She should have no idea where the Ents are holding all the people that they've captured. But that's where she leads them. Stupid stuff. Anyway, so what are they talking about here?
No. Then you saw I was a Numenorian.
Okay, yeah, he was basically saying you were going to kill me, but then you saw us a Numenorian and you wanted to use me for your own blah, blah, blah. Okay, so discount Legolas, all right? He's actually checking out the place where Theo got captured. But that's also where they found the axe previously when they're hunting in the night. So it's clearly she didn't need her to lead them to this location. I still think it's implied that she's going to guide them to where the Ents are. But if it was that she was just guiding them to this location, they already found this location. But anyway, he finds some like blossom petals or whatever on the ground. And is like, Theo wasn't taken by wildmen. Let's hear it. Again, just careful that copyright.
Be still.
Be still. Oh my gosh, get on with it. We'll get there.
Hiya.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Come quickly. Theo was not taken by men at all.
Theo was not taken by men at all. He figures that out because of the petals on the ground. It's like, does that really say that? Like, how could he figure that out? Like, what if the wild men just knocked over, I don't know, some petals, or had a herb pouch or something like that? Like, all right, he just knows. He just knows. So now Theo is waking up, right? And again, this isn't at the wild men camp. He's literally been taken to another place. And it's like, it's supposed to be a tree prison. Let's take a good look at this, right? Guys, you tell me, is this a difficult place to break free from what you can see here? There's big gaps. You can climb out. It doesn't even have a roof, okay? And it's on top of like a stump of a tree, right? But that tree has lots of handholds and divots and bumps, okay? You could climb out of this so easily. But they're acting like this is a prison and they're trapped and they can't get free. And it's like, just look at it. It would be so easy to just climb out of. And they're not showing that they're constantly underwatched by the Ents or anything. Gravity, though, it's the law. Dr. Frost says, I could get out of there and I'm fat AF. Yeah, this is garbage. This is a good point. Cartoonish prison with no trapping things. W85 for $10 says, climb out of the freaking hole. It's that easy. Just do it. Like, it is comical. You're watching this thing. Like, this is the type of thing that a cartoon would be trapped in. Oh, gosh. Yeah, look at him. We get a good old view. That is just an unbreakable prison, guys. Yes, this is a good point. The wood looks dead and brittle too, right? Holy crap, I could have climbed this thing when I was 10. Oh, it's just depressing how dumb this is. And they're showing it like this is serious, like, so intense. And this is the result. As Howard says, I can't take it. You can't take it seriously. Watching this, and you're like, this is comical. This is nonsense, right? Yeah, they could have added thorns or something. Something. Oh my gosh. And the trees aren't even that high up. They could have done a really high up tree. Like, imagine if like this tree back here was, just one of those giant trees, and they're at the very, very top, and trying to climb down it, you could potentially kill yourself if you slip and then fall and break your neck, right? But this thing isn't that tall at all. You could probably jump from the top and survive it. Gosh. But anyway, they're like, what's trapped us? I don't know, but they're big. So this scene was a little confusing to me. It gets explained a bit later, but at first I was wondering, has all this destruction been done by the Ents? No, it's not by the Ents. It was done by the goblins, right? Let's watch some of this, right? Zooming in. Look at this path of crazy destruction. And it's like, hang on. Are the goblins just kicking over trees as they're walking through? But what's hilarious, right? A bit later in the episode, they show us goblins walking through the forest, and they're causing no destruction. They're just walking past the trees. So why'd they decide to be assholes and chop down every tree in their path here, when they're not doing later? And also, why the hell would you travel that way? You're not even using the wood for anything. They don't need to dig a trench or anything. And it's like, oh, we like chopping down trees, which is going to make our travel 100 times longer. But that's how goblins travel. We just chop down the trees as we go. Sorry, orcs, but yeah. Right? Yeah, the goblins found a bulldozer. Like, it would almost make sense if the Ents, because the Ents could do it, but the Ents wouldn't just knock down trees willy-nilly, especially these Ents that feel it's a capital offense to kill a tree, that they'll murder you for it. These Ents are evil, by the way. Friggin' hate them. If you want, chop down a tree for firewood. There's nothing wrong about that. But no, the Ents, that's like they literally just murder someone for doing that in the last episode. Assholes. These Ents are... W for 85 for $10 says goblin wives scolded them for chopping them down. That's what they did, right? It's stupid nonsense, but they want a reason, okay, to have set the Ents off on their murder spree. The Ents are just going to be killing anyone that they see harming a tree now, and the reason they give is that the mean old orcs just chop down all the trees. But why would they do that? Like, it made sense in Lord of the Rings and the Jackson trilogy, where the orcs were chopping down all the trees for firewood to burn industry and make, furnaces for smelting and making all these weapons and stuff like that. And so it's that's a really clear, obvious reason for them to cut down swaths of forests and potential, Ents in hibernation as well. And you can see why that ticked off those Ents, right? Because it wasn't just chopping down a single tree. That's a capital offense. Like, no, they were probably murdering other Ents and wiping out massive amounts of forests without a care in the world. Still don't think it's a capital offense, by the way. But I could see that would tick off Ents a bit more than just chopping down a single tree. But do you see how that made sense? Here, it's because reasons. That's just the way orcs travel, except when they don't, because they literally show them later on not doing that, just walking through the forest. It's contrived nonsense. They needed a reason for the Ents to be ticked off. They couldn't think of any logical, valid way that would make sense. So they just have the characters or creatures in the world do stupid crap to force what they want to happen in the plot. It's a constant, regular thing. Pay attention to how many times I bring up something like that. Like, this is, they've written themselves into a corner. They don't know how to resolve it. So the answer is just to do something stupid because they don't have the talent. What they're doing here, is something they have done so regularly. Watch the previous live stream reviews. I call it out when I see it. And there's probably more that I don't even notice, right? But all the ones I'm noticing, it's happening so often. They're in this corner. They need something to happen in the plot. They do not have the talent to come up with a clever, creative way, or even a way that makes sense with the events or characters or choices or anything like that. So they just force arbitrary bullcrap to happen. How did Sauron, find a person to consume to reconstitute himself? He's in the middle of nowhere. We'll just have a cart run over him in the middle of nowhere. Bullcrap. Okay? Exactly how it's just asinine. All right? So that's what the goblins are. They're just ripping apart everything. Look at this destruction. And look, the chat was right. They must have had a bulldozer, because holy crap. Oh my gosh. This is a funny comment that she says, might be easier to balance if I had my use of my hands. It's like, not massively. I mean, your hands are here. Should be able to walk just fine. Anyway, seemed like a silly line. maybe she's just reaching for any excuse to get free. Okay. Isildur trips up and he gets stuck in a bog. And then our discount Legolas tries to pull him out. Can't pull him out. And then they both get sucked in.
I'm going down.
I'm going down. Now, I was starting to get annoyed when watching this, but they explain what's going on. It's a monster. A monster is actually like underneath trying to suck him in, and they're not aware that it's a monster yet. And that's why the pressure is so great. Because if it wasn't, if they didn't have an explanation like that, I would be like, what the hell is this bog thing? Because holy crap, watch what happens. Like this is really pulling him under. And then this, ready? I was just like, okay. But look, I accept the explanation that it was a monster. That did it. All right. How deep must that thing go down? And I started to get worried when she tries to pull them out. I was just like, if she pulls them out when the, super powered elf couldn't, I would be like, get stuffed. But no, it's a monster. All right. And this is where, like, this might have been interesting or cool if it was in a better show, right? Like, it's a creepy kind of mud monster thing. Now, watching this, that's like, oh, okay, they're dead then. All right, they've been swallowed by a mud snake thing. Yeah, they should be dead. Right. But how do you think they survive this? How do you think they survive this? Now she's like, oh, she's gonna be stuffed, but right. Watch what happens. I might just turn off the volume because that'll help save the. It's got these weird claw thingies. She just said, like, if I was her, I'd be running. It's like, yeah, I'm out of here. See ya. And lucky, I look at the timing of this. She is just about to get completely yeeted, right? And ready? Guess what happens? Dude, they cut themselves out of the stomach. Right. I don't know. To me, it's just like, look, you haven't earned that, okay? How much of a superhuman are you supposed to be? Yep, they're like, knew it. Classic. Someone's crying. This is a good question. He didn't feel the bite on his leg. You'd think that, like, instead of just like, oh, I'm sinking in a swamp, wouldn't you be like, something just grabbed onto my leg, dude? This is a good, like, you would feel that tugging. Yeah, that's what I kind of get. They haven't earned that at all, and like, because even Jackson Trilogy pushes it too far for me sometimes, because Legolas, how he just owns that Oliphant and is like sliding over it like he's on a skateboard or something like that. Even that, I'm just like, really? I mean, come on. Really? Legolas? They go too far with Legolas as well. And so I don't just, give the Jackson Trilogy a complete pass and I'm only critical. No, like some things are a little too over the top. And this is one of those things for me. Right. And then it's like, yeah, we have something to eat. This is going to be dinner. Look, rule of cool can only go so far. You need to make it more believable than that. Yeah, see, Legolas can go over the top in Lord of the Rings. It's definitely not perfect. But there are some things that I think that, like, Legolas sliding down the steps on a shield and going crazy, like, I think I can accept that. It's like, okay, yeah, it's got super, balance and agility. Like that one, I can enjoy, right? Still only counts as one. The music helps heaps through, though, in the Jackson Trilogy. Yeah, like, because it's in such a good movie, right? Things like that are sometimes easier to overlook because there's so much to enjoy. But when you're sludging through crap like this, right, there's nothing to distract you. And then something like this happens, you're just like, nah, you haven't earned it. All right, guess who's back? It's the hobbits, halfling, half people, whatever they are, the awful ones. Right? And they're, gee. Buddy Rat for $2 says they're eating the bugs again. I mean, technically, yes, they do eat some of that like bug thing that they chop themselves out of. All right. This is funny because they mention, let's listen to what the conversation lead up is, because this is the lead up and reveal that the psychopathic halflings that they've found in the desert are actually the long lost ancestors of the Harfoots, right? This is it. It's the worst.
He would have done the same thing.
So this is funny. They're tied up, right? And potentially going to be killed. Okay. And it seems like the show is aware of how awful, truly awful the halflings are, right? So these people they're getting ready to murder Nori and Poppy. And Nori's like, yeah, my leader would have done the same thing. Because they're psychopaths too. They're just murderer people out there. Like, are they? It seems like they're aware of it by now. G2 Bryce for $5. Have you done a Shadiversity video? Try shooting a bow while sliding on a shield downstairs. Funnily enough, I've been tempted to try that, but that one is tricky to set up because I'd actually need like a kind of move. I wouldn't want to do it on real stairs that you could, something dangerous could happen. I'd want to get a staircase that I could put on the side of a hill and test it on that. So I would kind of like to, but there's a bit of setup to get that done. But still, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, Howard, Shad, I can't even anymore. I know it continues. And so it's so funny that they just admit it. Yeah, our leader would have been willing to murder us too. You remind me of him. I like you now because you're a murderous psychopath like my leader is. Oh, man, this crap. And then, right, that's the connection. She says that.
Sadek.
I'll try to find her.
Yeah, I tried to find her. He was called Sadek Burrows.
He was called Sadek Burrows.
And she's like, I know that name.
Sadek Burrows.
Was your leader's name? Well, there was, so look, this is so tedious. Everything with the Harfoots and this, like, it feels like it's forced. That's like, oh, we still have these characters. No one liked them in season 1, but we can't kill them off, so we're going to force a plot. You want to know the origin of why hobbits dug in holes, right? You want to know that. And so before they kick him out, feed him to the bad guys, is like, we need to know you're working on a full bush rule. There was a guy here who wanted to leave and find a place with rivers and rolling hills, and that he would return when he found it. And they're hinting the Shire. This is a set up to explain the origin of why the hobbits live in the Shire. They're going to be searching for that. But the thing is, though, Nori's all upset because he clearly didn't ever find the magical, his promised land, and they've just been wandering in the wilderness for hundreds, many years. Yeah, and I don't know when, but I think it was like the ancestor of Sardok or something like that. He has a similar name. I think that's the connection. Can't be the same one. How old is that guy? Because if it's the same one, oh my gosh, it seemed like it was an ancestor. But that's essentially what happens in this. And it's like, who gives a crap? And it's so like, she's sad. It's like, he never found the promised land and he was just walking in the wilderness. All right, maybe we'll listen to how she says it. You want to hear the cringe?
I think
You're going to be careful of that music though.
Rory must never found the Suzat.
The Suzat, that's what they call it. That's the name for effectively what they are, hinting to be the Shire. The Suzat. It's like he He never found the Suzette. Yeah, it's a bit like Hobbit Moses, the wandering in the wilderness. It's terrible. It's so sad. She even cries. It's like, I don't feel any of this emotion. It's like, that's it. Like, we don't have a home. We've been wandering, blah, blah, blah. And they want you to feel like this is special or something. Oh, what's up? Like, it's so dark. Who are we back with now? Because this is like, so much of this episode was forgetful, right? Oh, it's the bad guys with the helmets. Hey, Shake from Hunger Team just donates $10. Dude, thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. They're searching for the Harfoots hobbits. They're like, where are they? And at this point, I'm just like, I just find them. Just find
only half.
Oh, that's right. So what happens is that they arrive where the Harfoot people in the desert are living. They walk up, and now because the psychopathic desert hobbits realize that these other hobbits are descendants and they're also psychopaths, that now they're going to be friends together. But I mean, if you fall behind, I'll just go fly. Like, but now they're going to protect him in the sense and not reveal where they're at. And like, only 2 guys walk in, and I know these are smaller, halfling creatures, right? Do they have any backbone at all? Like, they have enough people that could overpower them, but maybe they're just like, a timid, scaredy cat race kind of thing, which kind of fit, because she gets smacked down. Right.
To what?
To what do we owe the pleasure? And it just smacks her down, and then they just keep talking like, "Oh yeah, we're looking for these 2 people." And look, this lady was willing to murder Nori and Poppy before, so sorry if I don't really feel too much sympathy. And then he holds out his hand. It's like, I'm gonna just beat you down. And then it's like, oh, here's my hand. Do you want a hand up? It's like, well, that flipped on a dime. Is this how they just initiate conversations with anyone? First thing. And she doesn't take his hand. She gets up anyway. Harfoots, where are they? Blah, blah, blah. Talking about him. It's boring. Who gives a crap? And then they threaten them with a sword. It's like, if you like, anyway, who gives a crap? Back to the elves. Remember the elves? They just fought the Barrow-wights. That's the sword of the elf that got killed because one died in the fight. And Galadriel goes up to talk to Galadriel. Right? Sorry, Galadriel goes up to talk to Elrond. Let's see what she says. Oh, we got a super chat from Dabby85 for $10. Straight out of Hobbiton, right? Oh, those halflings are vile, sadistic psychopaths, man. Yeah, we don't like you. We'll just feed you limb for limb to the bad guys. I was just like, holy crap.
I know you believe this ring is deceiving me.
Ah, so it's about the ring. That's right. The ring is like you think.
But I believe
it is guiding me. All right. There's no. This is an interesting comment. So, Elrond says, "Is there no point at which the cost of victory becomes too great?" So, it's effectively saying, your desire to like win at all costs, like. Surely the ends don't justify the means. You wouldn't do anything. Like, what are you willing to do? Okay. And she responds, okay, I have yet to reach that point. It's like, oh, she is coming very close to, I'll do anything to defeat Sauron, even if it's something evil, right? And remember, the context is that the ring she's wearing could be corrupted by Sauron and could potentially doom the entire world. All right. I think Elrond has a bit of a point of being a bit flabbergasted that, like, Why are you willing to risk something like this, you crazy, crazy woman? Right? And that's what it says. There's no point in which the cost of victory becomes too great. Like, how about not risking the death of the entire, destruction of the entire world by wearing one of the most powerful items that's ever been created that's effectively might be the doomsday weapon of the devil. Okay? And her response is, no, that's fine. Let's listen to it.
I have yet to reach that point.
It's like, yeah, that hasn't pushed me that far. Galadriel is just evil, man. She is a strong woman. Ain't no ring can hold her. I feel sorry for Shad. Hey, but you're here. You're here enduring it with me. You guys give me the strength to get through it. But anyway, that line, I was just like, okay, is she completely evil then? Right. But anyway, she basically tries to make him swear that, you will defeat Sauron at any cost, even if it's like, you'll let me die to defeat Sauron. Something like that. Because she's pretty full on into gotta defeat the Sauron even at any cost. And then he's like, I will make no promises whose asking is born of that ring, because the ring is evil. And like, he actually has a point there, okay? It seems like Elrond is the only one who has some brains about what's actually at stake with that ring being made by Sauron. And it's not like in the books where Sauron didn't have a part in the making. He was there figuring it all out with Celebrimbor, though he wasn't present during the smelting, I guess. And that's why they say he didn't touch it. But Elrond, yeah, I'd be suspicious with him as well. He did end up committing treason against Gil-galad and all that stuff to try and stop them from getting the rings, but I think that would have been the right choice. They were insane to entertain. Yeah, we can use these weapons made by the devil. Okay, so they hear drums. And then it cuts away because, we have to remember what happens with Isildur and them. Buddy Rabbit for $5 says, Bilbo faced less adversity than these people living in a comfortable hole. He stumped trolls, outwitted a golem, stood in Smaug's shadow. Harfoots suck. Oh, Harfoots mega suck, man. Okay, so Isildur is going to have a conversation, right? And an ent appears. And we're about to see what happens. Dawnbreaker for $2 says, what up, Shad? You see the Minecraft movie trailer? Yes, I have, and it was nightmare fuel, and I've already made a video that'll be out tonight of my thoughts of that colossal piece of crap. Holy, might be good when it comes out. Doesn't look good at all right now. But anyway, that's for that video. But still, thank you for the super chat, and check out that video. It'll be coming out. So, as I mentioned, an end is about to appear, right? But she convinces Isildur to take off her manacles, and then she grabs his sword. You can't trust her. Ready? Boom! She got the drop on you, Isildur.
Forgiveness doesn't come.
Now, all right. She doesn't think that they'll forgive her for taking on the brand of Adar. It's like, all right, I think I can accept that reasoning. Buddy Rabbit $5 says, Sam was a gardener. Merry and Pippin were simple folk, and they rose to the challenge to kill orcs in Moria. Harfoots are pathetic for nomads. Dude, and remember, they will like, someone gets left behind, they're dead, and they'll laugh about it. They'll laugh about a guy getting horribly, having a horrible death. Was it by bees or something like that? And they'll just, man, they were so vile. Okay, so Discount Legolas is like, put the sword down. She won't put it down, but then he hears something. There's something coming, cracking in the branches, and you got to see what happens, right? All right. I need to find out where it happens, because let's see. It's so dark. Gee, you can barely see anything. Do you see the ent? That's the ent there. You can just see it, but all right. All right, I think it's here. So let's try and watch it if it can catch up. So the tree is coming. It says, Estrid, drop the sword. But he doesn't drop his bow and arrow. Okay. I know, right? I can't see crap. That's this show, man. It gets darker when, you know, the overlay comes on like that. But even when it's not on, there are certain angles where you can barely see it.
Drop the sword!
All right, like, look at this one. You could barely see a thing, man. But I see more than I like, right? Dawnbreaker for $5 says, I did a little digging, and apparently a month after the Minecraft movie comes out, a Roblox movie comes out. Would you like to hear the movie description? Not right now, Dawnbreaker. We appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, but we are going to be focusing on Rings of Power. Maybe when we're doing kind of the wrap up at the end of this the bit by bit review, I can chat a little bit about some other stuff. But let's keep focused because we're about to see something that's it's comical. Like you lose all investment in any stakes when stuff like this happens. Okay, so have a watch. All right, it's going to be hard to see, might be a bit dark, but wait for it. Boom. Okay, did you see it? She's dead. She just got smacked by a branch arm of an ent. So it knocks her off her feet. She gets launched for what? 5 to 10 meters, smacks into a rock. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, she's dead. But of course, you know this show. Of course she's not dead. You had the Harfoot survive being yeeted for a mile through the air and get up like it's fine. Elrond jumps off of a waterfall, all right, a cliff that's massive. Like, he's fine. Of course, they're cartoon characters at this point where nothing hurts them unless it's the appropriate time in the plot where it's like it robs any investment you have at all when you have cartoon characters getting bonked by giant tree and they just shrug it off, right? We are Harbinger for $2 says based and never trust winches. Well, she was holding a sword, right? Oh my gosh. Now, they say, to be fair, the troll did similar in Fellowship. I mean, the Mithril, they tried to justify it with that. But even then, I agree that they're kind of pushing it, right? But just because something happened that might have been bad in the Jackson trilogy doesn't excuse it. It's just like, both would be bad, would they not? Doesn't excuse it happening. But seriously, nothing to this level of comedic ridiculousness. Like really. I mean, this is just over the top. And she's not even a warrior or anything. She doesn't have mithril or anything. She's just completely knocked for a 6, right? And there'd be no way she'd survive that. Yeah. Kicking her into a rock should be lethal. Okay. They're MCU characters. Like I said, it's like they're cartoon characters at this point. But she's fine. She just shrugs it off. And this is an ent wife. And these ents are like psychopathic. You chop down one tree, capital offense, they will tear you apart. Right? But unless your main character has plot armor, then they won't tear you apart. The elf speaks elf language to him and is like, oh, by the way, that's a sword. It's not an axe. That's not for chopping down trees. Okay. Hey, Siege, hail back to you. Appreciate you. And then he basically tries to speak to her, and the end asks him, did you ever chop down a tree? And he's like, to my everlasting shame, I have, but forgive me. Right? Let's see if we see that. Okay, this is where she mentions it was the army that knocked down all the trees, so that explains it was the goblins. Okay, so I'm trying to find the part where the tree asks him if he's ever chopped down a tree, but maybe it might be a bit too hard to find that specific moment. Because he does is like, to my shame, I have chopped down a tree. And it's like, dude, but forgive me. And she's like, oh, you're asking me. Anyway, lots of tree hugging in this episode. And they try to make this ent wife. This is a woman ent, okay? And they're trying to make her motivations clear. She's murdering people for hurting the trees, but then they're like, oh, but she might be willing to forgive you. I'm sorry, like cutting down a single tree, that's not grounds for a creature to murder someone. Like, even if you think that tree is your friend, piss off. No. All right. So I really don't like this end. Okay. Yeah. Chris Longfellow, I honestly hate this. Yeah. He's barking up the wrong tree. I see what you did then. It's Ent Mam. Here's an interesting point. The Ents are not that extreme about tree felling. They went after Saruman because he was causing mass deforestation and not replanting any of it. That's kind of my understanding. It was the largest scale of it, right? That was my understanding, because it'd be really bonkers if the Ent just thinks you chop down a single tree, that's death. But guess what? Unironically, that's what they have these Ents doing in Rings of Power. They're insane. Okay, how are they capable of doing this, right? Like anything that they grab from Lord of the Rings, they have a talent for making you hate them in this show. It's unbelievable. And so they have the Entwives, and they make you hate them as well, because they're psychopath murderers for chopping down trees. Let's see if we can. Do you want to hear a voice briefly? Let's see what you might want to hear what the Ent voice says. This is where I'll go back.
To the trees of this wood.
Oh no, that's the elf dude.
Covering old scars.
Doesn't sound like an Ent, does she? But guess what? A male Ent appears later, and he doesn't sound. They do not sound like Ents at all. You know, Ents, how they speak really slowly, because they like, you know, they don't necessarily perceive time differently to people, but because they age so slowly and they're such ancient creatures that they're not used to trying to do anything with haste. Mages Guild $5 says, Ents have the IQ of the writers. Chopping down a tree with a sword would be a rather insane task. You know, I've done that before. We have a video on Shadiversity chopping down trees with swords just to see if they can happen. You can do it. And yes, you can, surprisingly. A bit difficult, you know. Some swords do it better than others. Check out the video on Shadiversity. But yeah, but I agree. It is a rather silly, insane, you know, maybe, right? Oh, no, the Ents might come after me for that. The Ents also look bloody, awful, ugly. I agree. Absolutely. Mages Guild. Yeah, it's too dark. You can't even see or hear them. You can hear them, but it's hard to see. So
What comes after the night storm?
That's the male Ent, right? Doesn't sound like an Ent at all. And it's not necessarily pitch, but I think the pitch should have a bit more of a like crackling tree, you know, cracking barky kind of. They did that fine with Lord of the Rings. I think, you know, the way they did Treebeard's voice was good. But the big issue is that they're speaking so fast for Ents specifically, right? And that really feels like makes us feel like these aren't Ents. But anyway, they make friends, and because they make friends, they let Theo go. Astrid's fine. She just shrugs that off. All right. And so, ready? They just pick Theo up because they are like, oh, yeah, well, you'll forgive now. I mean, we murdered one guy for chopping down a tree, but, you know, the elf, like he does the tree whispering to him, and now they're going to be friends and they'll release him. Okay. Gosh. It's just, you get so checked out watching this, right? It's because you don't feel like the Ents had any good, real, valid reason for murdering people. Okay. You don't like Theo. Discount Legolas is they want him to be so awesome, and they're devoting so much time to this, right? And it's like, the more significant parts in the plot is the stuff revolving around the rings, okay, and Sauron, but they still have Discount Legolas and Theo. We need to do something with them, and so it's like a pointless side plot. So this, and especially those Hobbit scenes, feel forced and pointless, and they're just so boring as a result. Okay, so anyway, Theo's freed. Aren't you happy? The lady who was the bad lady, she meets up with her husband. He's there. They kiss, and Isildur, who had the hots for her, is bummed out. is like,
I can't believe you're here.
oh, she is married. I hope she was lying. He had the hots for her, you know. Why does he care about this lady so much? Yeah, like she didn't have crap covered on her face as many as the other people. All right. And then Theo likes Discount Legolas now because he saved her. They talk about... So, I think they might be writing Theo out of the show for most of the part now, because basically Discount Legolas is like, orcs have moved through this area. I need to go see where they're going. Do you want to come with me? Which is Theo is not trained for war. That's a dumb choice. Why would you invite him to come with you, you idiot? But Theo actually says, nah, my place is here. Like, Theo, it's not that your place, is that you would be committing suicide if you tried to hunt down an army of orcs, you idiot. But Theo's going to be left behind. And so I think they're going to happily ignore him and follow Discount Legolas following the army. And he is going to meet up with Galadriel. Won't that be great? All right. Critical Orc Theory for $2. Sees Entwife would. I see what you did there. Critical Orc Theory. Yeah, gee, I wonder if Isildur will make it back to safety. I wonder. Like, because this is one of the issues that they have with trying to build suspense, when you know there are some things in the lore that they don't have the balls to break, and you'd think Isildur is one of those, especially because he has a pretty pivotal role in that big battle against Sauron, and defeating him the first time with his ring and stuff. And so I don't think they would have the balls to kill him off, which means like there's no real concern about his life. And like they actually did try and tease that at the end of season 1. Is Isildur dead? No one thought he was dead, unless you have absolutely no idea about the greater lore of Lord of the Rings or anything like that. But even if you don't, you know it was a cheap fake out. You know that that they weren't going to kill him. Okay, so he is going to go off. I don't know if Isildur is going to go with him. That'll probably be revealed in the next episode. And we're back following the orcs' army. Now, is this where there's a part where they actually show them traveling through the forest. And they're not knocking down trees as they go. Like before, they were knocking down a complete massive swath of trees. That's what ticked off the ends. But now they're just walking through the trees. Now they don't hate the trees. Because before it was necessary in the plot. Okay, but because it would be truly retarded that an orc army would travel through a forest like that, of course they're not doing it. Okay. Yeah, look at them walking past the trees, not chopping down a single one. Do you see this? Wow, it's so dark. You probably didn't see it at all. Oh my gosh, this thing. All right, so Galadriel is there, and they've actually come across the orc army. Okay. And they're watching, and they're like, we came in search of Sauron. Instead, we find Adar and his army. Okay. And let's listen to what they say here.
Instead, we find Adar.
Instead, we find Adar. Shocking.
Could they be in league with each other?
Ooh, I'm pushing that copyright stuff.
Perhaps at war.
A legion of orcs have marched into Elvish lands.
Right.
We are all of us at war.
We are all of us at war. Okay, what will they do? Dark Metatron's Corner for $5. Rings of Power feels like a poorly put Middle Earth in. Rings of Power feels like they poorly put Middle Earth into a mirror universe into the mirror universe from Star Trek. Everyone and everything is twisted and evil just to be grim dark. You know, I see that. Like, they even made the Entwives evil. It's insane. But thank you very much for the super chat, Dark Metatron's Corner. All right. Okay, so this is leading up to such dumb stuff. Galadriel's another big epic girl boss moment, because she's full of piss and vinegar. Remember, she is so this like real big flashbacks to her just murking that ice troll without even breaking a sweat. You're gonna see her girl boss as much as she's ever girl boss, man. Just wait for it. Yeah, I thought the chat was being funny, but it's legit. Like this is how dark it is, right? This is, and that's with the overlay, but without it, like this is horribly made in terms of the dark scenes. It's always so dark. So it seems like the orcs notice a fire or something. It's hard to know what they're shooting at or what they saw, right? So maybe we should watch this just to try and figure it out, because it looks like they're just firing randomly into the woods. So the orcs, like, there, they see him. Like, it's like orcs don't have elven eyes. What tipped them off? I don't know. It just felt like suddenly they know where they are.
Word of this must reach the High King before our host sails for Mordor.
So it's like, oh, Eregion's under attack. That means we're going to send the army to the wrong place. And it's like, not much is kind of giving away their position here. Okay. See how nicely they're walking through the trees here? Not chopping down a stick. Why did they chop down the trees before? Jerks. Okay, so just randomly an orc decides to just shoot in their direction. He's like, okay, that might have been a scouting party of orcs. Just run them, come upon them, you know. And then more arrows shoot. And they're like, the orcs are holding a torch. That would technically make it harder for them to see into the night. Especially if they're holding them in front of there. Okay, so Mordorian orcs have a night vision. It's mentioned in the Two Towers. All right, I can accept that then. All right. Still, I mean, elves, you'd think they'd be being a bit more sneaky. They don't want to be, seen. All right, so the orcs are there. But now they can't see him, it seems like. That's our supper getting away. All right, they were shooting at a horse, a random horse. And hang on, because the elves didn't have a horse with them. And I complained about that was dumb. And so literally that was just firing blindly into the darkness. They didn't see him. And one of their elf people gets shot in the chest by this just blind shooting. Like, it's so unlikely. It's like, man, random horse, those random horses in the forest. That'll reveal you every time. So the horse gets away. They're upset. But then they see one of those arrows actually hit one of the elf, people in their group. It's like, it got me. And it's his moans of pain that alert the orcs that there's someone else there. And something else happens that is also kind of weird. Galadriel heals this guy, and it's indicated she does it with the power of her ring. So now they're like, I can smell an elf. So watch what happens here, if you can even see it. Gosh, it's so dark. Okay, so that's the arrow. The guy got stuck. She's got the ring. And okay, I know Galadriel has magical power. Well, in the lore, she's supposed to have magical powers. She hasn't shown spit of any magical ability in the show, okay? Which is why the show seems to be displaying that it's the ring giving her these powers. When these rings, to my understanding, they might enhance certain natural abilities, and their actual powers is to, preserve and to stay off the decay of the world and stuff like that. They wouldn't give her healing powers. So this seemed very out of left field. I was like, what? See, the arrow just kind of falls off, and it really looks like she's magically healing him. Okay. And wait for it. And it's just like, oh, wow. So she could pull out magical healing out of her ass now because of the ring. All right. Okay. Gosh. This almost feels like, Rey in Rise of Skywalker just pulling out, yes, force healing from a rear end just because it's magic. Oh, wow. Elven magic. Impossible. So if any ring were to grant or enhance healing powers, it is Vilya, not Nenya. Okay. Is Vilya the one that's, you know, tied to water? Yeah, so this just felt, just like I said, felt like it came out of nowhere. Yeah, she really is the entire package. She could do everything now. See the future, kill a troll without breaking a sweat, magical healing, or the whole thing. Hey, Senior John Jessica for $1.99. It's not the ring. Galadriel's knows force healing. Right? It seems like that. Oh gosh. And everyone's like, maybe the ring isn't so bad. That's amazing. Yeah, she's just that good. So Elrond is associated with water and healing. Gandalf is straight fire. Okay. Seems like, and I know elves have magical abilities and they have like magical healing stuff. Galadriel has shown no signs of any magical ability at all. She's just a warrior. She, you know, piss and vinegar, they said. She's full of piss and vinegar. And they're all in awe. Amazing. But then the orcs are after him, and they decide that they need to split up. Okay, so where's the thing? Okay, so it was a bit before. We'll go back. She gives the ring to Elrond. All right. And Elrond actually is like, you're not trying to save us, you're trying to save the ring. And I was like, I think he's right then. Elrond, based again. All right, so this is your thing. So, all right, get to Linden. I will occupy them as long as I am able. And I'm like, it's dark. You could probably outrun orcs. So I don't think there's this massive need for you to do this epic last stand thing. I will save you. I will stop it. But it's the excuse to have her do her girl boss destroy. And it is, it's ridiculous. Like how over the top she is. It's, you know, Legolas eat your heart out type of stuff. Okay. So she's going to hold them off and then she gives them the ring. All right. Again, careful of that copyright.
Take
it. And so she just like, I'd almost think like, gee, is this almost like suicide? There's a lot of orcs she's just walking up on, right? And she is just going to, well, Senior John Jessica for $1.99. That's the point. She survived a pyroclastic flow. It makes sense. Like, you're right. Nothing can kill Galadriel. She's invincible. A pyroclastic flow, like just in case you don't know, would melt the skin off people's bones. It is so insanely hot and it's got like massive friction, which creates crazy amounts of static electricity. Like it's such a destructive wave that just kills things in its path. Galadriel took one of those to the face and just shrugged it off. It's insane. Thank you, Senior Don Justica. So yeah, like, why would she be afraid of anything? There's only like 50 orcs here. Oh my gosh. Where's the rest? Where's the rest? And she's just gonna face off to them all. And we need to watch some of this because some of it is just hilarious. Buddy Rabbit says, see Pompeii. Yes, see Pompeii if you want to see what a pyroclastic flow does to people.
I stand alone.
And that's all she needs. She's holding like a dagger knife. She's getting ready for the fight. All right. I thought orcs don't want to fight. Remember, they just want to take care of their families. They don't like going for war. But these orcs seem very like they can't even decide on what they're doing. Okay, because these orcs are acting more like your stereotypical orcs. You'd think, you know, they're happy to murder and kill.
Tell us where the others are.
Okay. Like these, again, these are the type of orcs you want to see. Not the, oh, I don't want to go go to war. I'll let you keep the left. Yeah, and I think, look, the orcs look pretty cool. Well, these ones do. Okay. But it's wasted in this show. Yeah, orcs are just friendly neighborhood immigrants. And so she is just gonna girl boss all over them all. She throws daggers, they're dead. And she gets out the arrows and she's gonna shoot down and ready. Like so I've done a video on Shadiversity testing fire arrows. Fire arrows are very hard to make work. You can make it work. There's ways to make them work. But if you don't have an arrow that's made to be able to catch fire, right? Watch what happens. She killed an orc. He drops his torch. His torch is falling. She swings her arrows through the torch, and now they're just on fire. It's like they had no fuel on the tips. What's making them light up? What the hell is going on? And then she shoots. And by the way, fire arrows would have no greater lethal effect shooting them into someone than if they weren't on, like, literally pointless in this situation. In fact, it'll just let people see where you are because you're in the dark. And so maybe you could have dodged some certain fights and had the orcs would have trouble trying to see you. That'll just reveal where you are even more. Yeah, magic elf fire arrow, bro. Magic, that was such bull crap. So, you know, Justin for 199 says, looks like family values is back on the menu, boys. Yeah, the fire just makes them more dead. No, it actually helped cauterize the wound a bit. Probably make it even less lethal than just shooting a, arrow, bodkin right in the chest. No, she does not have the One Ring anymore. And I say One Ring because they effectively will act like the One Ring in terms of temptation and being able to control the minds and wills of other people. They're evil rings. She just gave her ring to Elrond. She does not have the ring anymore. Oh, gosh. So she fights fire. They just explode. I know what doused it, as one of the super chats earlier said, doused in kerosene. Just like, look at that, how they light up. Holy crap. We're watching a cartoon. This is such nonsense. Oh my gosh. Yeah, was he soaked in oil? Like, orcs are just very flammable, I guess. Oh, a tragedy, gasoline fight accident. I see what we are referencing there. Is this a school for ants? I know what you're referencing. Yeah, it really is like a live action cartoon at this point. This is nonsense. I was just like, what? Right. And then she jumps over one of the on fire orcs, kicks another one, jumps on the horse, kicks another one, dodges a blade. Buddy Rabbit for $2 says, that's me watching this show. Relatable orc, bro. And Senior Judge Oscar for 199 says, douse in Numenorian wine. Must be something like that. And thank you for watching this, so we don't have to. You're a good man. I appreciate you. She's so cool. I know this is like that. Is it Galadriel cool? It doesn't feel like she's earned this. Okay. And then she shoots more orcs while she's lying on her back on the horse. And like the orcs just chop up the horse. You don't need to like hang around. And she's surrounded and she's run into the midst of them. There was a chain on it, and so now she's swinging around the chain, knocks her across another orc. And by the way, she was sitting on that horse for a good while right now, like several seconds, and no orc has actually just come up and they could just come in and hack her to pieces, but they're all hanging back, going in one at a time. And that chain swings around another orc, hooks onto him. She's so strong, she can throw him into another orc. These orcs behind here, they're just hanging back. They're all right. Yep. And then she runs off. And I'm like, guys, what the hell are you doing? She grabs a lantern from another orc, throws it in the air. This one is funny, right? Wait for this one. Whips out the arrow. I mean, wow, a single arrow can make a metal framed lantern explode. That's like, it's like she's shooting a grenade. It was just a lantern. But holy crap, not only does it explode, right? The fuel just falls and covers these orcs like it's napalm. Holy crap. Do you understand what I mean when I said she girl bosses like she's never girl bossed before? She's just totally murking them all. She could take on the whole army herself at this point. Yep, she's a hero, right? Just wow. That's physics, baby. Ye old red exploding barrel. I know, right? That this is like astoundingly dumb. Yeah, I'm speechless. Oh my gosh. And so yeah, those orcs just get napalmed, right? Oh, she's burning. Hey, really hang on that shot. Buddy Rabbit for $2 says, I wish that were me. Just kill me now. End the suffering. Oh. Yeah, the elves. All right, listen to what they say. I was like, oh no, they're killing her. No.
Sacrificed herself to save us all.
No, that's not her dying. Those screams of pain aren't glad. That's her killing them all. They're like, she's dying out there. It's like, no. She's wiping out the entire army. Don't worry, she's done it before. The power of Mary Sooness. Oh my gosh. But then this is where Elrond actually says something based. We'll wait for it. We'll get there.
No, you are mistaken, Kimnir.
And I was always, like I said, I was always expecting, like, that's not them killing her. That's her killing them. But instead, he says this. She did not do it to save us. And then they're like, what you talking about? She did it to save the ring. And I'm like, hey, I actually agree with Elrond here. Yeah, she's not she doesn't care about you guys. You guys could die and she couldn't give us stuff. I remember all those like poor sobs she had following her at the beginning of season 1, dragging them halfway across the world to death. She didn't give a crap about them. Piston for €2 says Mordef Clark needs therapy after that scary fight. Yeah, that was a report from season 1 that she needed therapy after some of the fight scenes and stuff. And like, I guess it was traumatic. I wonder if she'll need therapy for this one. I mean, I was trying to think if the actress has actually gone after the fans at all. And one thing she has repeated a lot, Mordef Clark, is like, people have an issue with strong women. It's like, no, we don't. There's a heap of strong female characters that we love. But she's been gaslighting, telling people that, no, all the hate is that they just can't stand a strong woman. And Galadriel is a strong... No, we hate Galadriel because she's an insufferable, evil, psychopathic nutcase who's just so narcissistic and up herself. She is a vile, unlikable character. Okay, nothing about it. Like, there's a lot of strong female characters that we like. Charles Sat for $5 says Legolas, Aragorn, Gimli able to run faster than super orcs. Galadriel can't be that much of a girl boss if she can't outrun them. She could though. I reckon she could, but she's even more of a girl boss. She thinks she can take on the entire army right here. Just take him out right now. And the Uruk-hai, they could move in daylight. That's what made them so formidable. I wouldn't necessarily call them super orcs, okay? And like Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn, they did something massively like crazy impressive. Just keeping up with them. I don't think they outran them. I think they were just slightly gaining on them a bit. but it did really surprise people. I remember reading the book. Is it Faramir when he discovers like how far they've ran and how quickly? And it's like, I think I'll name you Fleet of Foot. I forget what he names it, but something along those lines. You guys, you did something hardcore. And so what they did was a massively impressive feat. Okay, and it was hard for him. It was a struggle. Okay, so it's like not to save them, and so back to the girl bossing. These are elven lands. You can't get past me.
Elven lands.
Like, how many orcs are there? 20, 50? And they're like, I am not messing with her. And so she ends up, after like being unstoppable, she ends up then now getting defeated because now it's the right time, you see. They needed to have her power moment. Now the script says it's the right time. Okay, here we
go back to the shadow.
And so she's just charging him all herself. And now it's time. And so one of the orcs wraps her with a chain and knocks her off her horse. It's like, if that wasn't the right time of the plot, she would have easily, she would have dodged it or just grabbed it and pulled them and thrown them. But now's the right time because they want to reveal. She's like, oh no, I will get you. She has another fire arrow all of a sudden. And look who it is. It's Ada. Da, da, da. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. Her plot armor broke because that was just the right time, right? She like, this is why these Mary Sue Unstoppable characters are just so awful, because they've just shown her be insanely unstoppable. She basically took her an army by herself, right? They've shown her power level, but now because they need her to be challenged, they suddenly ramp that power level. Now she's like an old a chain knocked her off her horse, where before she would have shrugged that off, not a problem. Okay, do you see the inconsistency, the problem? All right. Mary Sue characters like this, like if you're gonna have an overpowered character, and I might have some, understanding about trying to work with an overpowered character, because my novel is very overpowered purposely so, and so understanding the situations in which he would be challenged and when they wouldn't be challenged, because you have to be consistent with the power scale, is important. Here, they've shown she was just fighting orcs, murked them all, not a problem. Same orcs, suddenly, bang, she gets totally taken out. Star shines at the hour of our meeting, Galadriel. You remember me, and that's the end of the episode. Lady Galadriel is caught. What shall she do? Whatever will happen. Oh, I care so much. I really wouldn't love it if she was killed and the show ended. Yep, terrible everything. How dare Adar stop her? Sheesh, men in power always get in strong women's ways. Oh, that is it. That is episode 4 of Rings of Power. And oh, wow, this show just continues on its just standard. The standard of crap is maintained. And it even gave you some member berries of Caesar. What, you remember how much Galadriel can just kick butt unstoppable? Well, you got to see that. And I tell you, that was comical. Those orcs just bursting into flame. She has normal arrows and she just swings those arrows through a bit of fire, and they burst into... It's so dumb. Yep. 0 out of 10. Galadriel's captured. Oh no! Anyway, I get that. -10 out of 10. Did it improve over episode 3? No, it's just the same slop right now. And especially like the Harfoot stuff. How pointless was that? And how boring. Oh my gosh. All right. That's an interesting point. If she hadn't tried to light the arrow, she could have just shot him straight away. I agree. Good point there, Spudnik. Wow. Yes, this is complete crap. Oh my gosh. There we have it. Rings of Power episode 4. Look, thank you everyone for joining me on this, especially the chat through the live stream. This has been a blast. I have a good chunk of people with us at the moment, and I'm doing it for you guys. You guys help me get through it, especially just hanging out, having fun with this, talking with you guys as we go through it, right? And so I do hope you'll join me on next week, because we'll be doing this weekly, and it'll be around-ish this time. It'll be pretty soon after the episode drops, and because it's in Australia, it's not 3 a.m. in the morning. No, it's more. It drops like 5 p.m. for me, which is a reasonable enough time. And so I do a bit of a late live stream, but I can catch it pretty soon. And so if you want to catch the next live streams, do that. And also, by the way, Night's Watch, we have a weekly Crusade live stream that you can join us with as well. And stay tuned, because in about half an hour, I've got a video dropping reacting to the Minecraft trailer, because that thing is out. And wow, that is nightmare fuel. So check out that video. Heaps of content here on Night's Watch. And if you like the content here, support is greatly appreciated. I appreciate all the super chats. Absolutely. You can sign up, become a member if you want to support Night's Watch. That is awesome. And appreciate everyone here. So wrapping up now. Thank you guys. Thank you, chat. You're all legends. Appreciate you all. I will see you next time. And as always, stay on watch.